BuzzNet.
In reference to the podcast.
Back at you once again for Freaky Friday.
That freaky shit. I gotta stop saying that. Now that I think somebody listens to this podcast. That I know. That I don't want them to hear me say that. I'm Amanda.
I'm Heather. And today we're going to learn, well, not learn about Antarctica. We're going to learn some of the conspiracy theories about Antarctica.
There's conspiracy theories about Antarctica?
Yes.
Oh. Alright.
Alright. But first, there's a little bit of history about it.
It's a big South Pole. What history is there about Antarctica?
Well, it was the last region that was discovered.
Yeah. No shit.
And did you know it's the southernmost continent on the planet?
False.
It is 5,500,000 square miles.
And if you stand on it, you fall off into the abyss of space.
Yeah. Or 14,200,000 square kilometers.
Wow, you looked that up for our...
I did.
You're so nice.
And it is the 5th largest continent. Around 98%.
What are the first four?
I don't know. It's just the 5th largest. I didn't put that much effort into it.
Oh, wow.
Around 98% of the land is covered by ice that is around...
Penguins.
Huh?
And penguins.
And penguins. That is covered with ice around 1.2 miles or 1.9 kilometers thick.
Oh, she thick.
The temperature has reached...
I'm listening.
That doesn't seem right. It says the temperature has reached 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or 89.2 degrees Celsius, but the average is usually 81. I'm wondering if I think that's supposed to be negative. Because I was going to say, if that's positive, like, there wouldn't be no ice down there.
Yeah.
So we're going to say it's supposed to be negative, and I just forgot to put that in there.
You probably, wrote it on the paper, and then you were like, I don't think that's necessary.
And I'd be like, oh, I'll remember, when I did this, months ago.
Oh, were you prepared to do this in Vegas?
No.
Oh, very good.
There is a treaty that was signed by 12 countries in 1959, and 38 more have signed the Antarctic Treaty since then.
And then Donald Trump was like, no, we don't need that.
Pretty much. It prohibits military activities and mineral mining, nuclear explosions, and nuclear waste disposal.
I didn't know we would need a treaty for that, but okay.
Gotta protect that ice. The treaty supports scientific research and protects the continent's ozone.
So it's the only continent that still has an ozone layer.
Pretty much. Ongoing experiments are conducted by more than 4,000 scientists from many countries.
And one of the greatest movies was filmed about Antarctica.
Happy Feet?
Oh.
Oh.
I was gonna say 8 Below.
Oh. That too.
One of the greatest, most depressing movies.
Yeah. Alright, so that's the background on it.
Oh, okay.
There's hauntings.
What?
Yeah, there's haunted stuff in Antarctica too, even on vast ice.
Crazy.
There are 2 main locations that people claim is haunted. The first is the McMurdo Station on Ross Island. In 1979. I just canceled out that first 9. In 1979, a sightseeing flight crashed into a mountain, killing all 257 people on board. Visitors at the station say that they feel a wrongness while visiting, and they say that they can feel the spirits wandering the frozen tundra.
Ew.
Because that's not creepy.
That sounds so creepy.
It's believed the station is haunted because the bodies from the crash were stored there before they were returned to New Zealand. So they're just... I mean, it's cold, so...
Yeah, they were just stored on ice.
They were just chilling.
Okay.
The other location is called Scott's Hut at Cape Evans. It was built in 1911 for an ultimately failed mission. It was then used by the Ross Tea Party from 1915 to 1917 after their ships went adrift. Not like in Frozen when they just stayed. There's a cross that was put there, that was put by the cabin the party built, a memorial for the 3 men who had died near Scott's hut. In addition to hearing voices and footsteps in the cabin...
Footsteps!
It is said that those who have perished trying to reach the South Pole, that their spirits are attached to the cabin. There is also having the feeling of being constantly watched.
Ew, no!
You don't want to feel watched when you're in Antarctica?
Well, I'm probably never going to go to Antarctica, but no, I would not want that to happen to me.
Ever, anywhere. Okay, that's all that there is for the hauntings. Now on to the conspiracies.
It's not really real.
First up is that Antarctica is actually Atlantis.
Oh.
It is believed to be true, since it has been argued that the continent was not covered in ice at one point, and may have been home to an ancient civilization.
Interesting.
Recently, a mysterious pyramid was discovered, and conspiracy theorists are saying that someone must have built it.
Nuh-uh.
I couldn't find anything else on the pyramid, except I saw the picture of it, but, I mean, if it's windy, theoretically it could just...
if it was windy, it'd build itself.
It'd build itself.
I don't think that's how that works, though. I hate to break it to you.
So I didn't find anything else on it, but, who knows. Apparently, I was very into this when I first wrote it, because then I put, could be Aquaman, Nazis, aliens, the Illuminati. Anyone's guess, really.
Stop. Could be Aquaman!
Aquaman lives in Atlantis!
He's a made-up character.
He's gorgeous.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No.
Yes. Okay.
I'll leave you in the middle of Cleveland.
No. The next theory is that the Nazis have a secret base in Antarctica.
Well.
While on an expedition in 1938, it's believed that I don't know who they are, but they found several underground caves and rivers, and they later made the largest cave into a secret city. Oh, the Nazis is they. I got it. I was like, I don't know who I'm talking about.
Oh.
Alright. While they were on an expedition, I completely lost my train of thought when I was reading that, but I got it. Oh.
We were hypnotized last night.
For real. It
was an experience.
Yeah. Okay, while they were on an expedition in 1938, it's believed that they found several underground caves and rivers, and they later made the largest cave into a secret city that they shared with the Illuminati. And then in parentheses, I put, man, I was on a roll with predicting. I forgot everything I researched, and when I was typing it, I said about Nazis and Illuminati, and here they are.
Jeez.
Some say that Hitler fled here after they lost the war. It's also been said that the Nazis somehow got alien technology and used the secret base to test it.
Okay.
The next one is that there are rectangular icebergs in Antarctica. Scientists have found weird, almost perfectly rectangular icebergs. They're also so large, sometimes you can see them from space. They are naturally created when part of an iceberg breaks off a larger iceberg. Theorists debate this and say that they are either a government facility or aliens. Their argument is that perfect shapes like these rarely exist in nature. Which I feel like isn't really true. Okay, there was a discovery reported in January of Oh my god. I can't read years today, apparently.
Well, you said it was 19.
There was a discovery reported in January of 2019 that NASA and the German Aerospace Center found a crater deep under the permafrost of Antarctica. It was really found in 2006 during the analysis of satellite images, so apparently it took them 13 years to figure it out. Scientists believe that it was formed by one of the asteroids that hit millions of years ago and caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. Conspiracy theorists do not believe this theory. They think that it is part of the secret Nazi base. Others believe it was discovered during a U.S. Navy operation to find the entrance into the Earth.
Oh, jeez.
Theorists believe that this crater is the entrance to enter the Earth. Okay. Got one more theory.
Take your time.
Ow. My leg cramped up.
Stretch it out.
The final theory is my favorite. But if anybody wants me to go in-depth and have this be a whole episode,
send her an email.
Please send me an email. Even if you just want to say hi, just send us an email. This is just going to be like a brief overlay.
All other ones is one damn email.
Yeah, just one person send me an email. I would be so happy. The theory is that Antarctica actually doesn't exist at all.
Oh, okay. So they're calling Paul Walker a liar. That's rude.
Yeah. This is the belief of the Flat Earth Society. They believe the North Pole is the center of the world and that the South Pole encircles the outer rim. According to the Flat Earth Society, Antarctica is really a 100 to 200 foot or 30 to 60 meter high wall of ice that surrounds the Earth. They say we can't confirm the existence of the wall because world governments and the United Nations have a strict no-fly and no-sail zone over the whole continent. The Flat Earth Society plans to take a cruise in 2020 to the ice wall to prove that it really is a wall. So maybe we'll get an update on this in a couple months. But who knows? But I have an update to one of my other stories.
Oh, yeah?
I have a Loch Ness update.
Oh, did they find her?
I got my info from 7 News Australia and VintageNews.com. Because they were going to do, like, dredge the lake and do eDNA.
Mm-hmm.
So the scientists have completed a DNA investigation of the loch and said that one theory about its fabled monster remains plausible. The global team of scientists led by Professor Neil Gemmell used the eDNA sampling of the waters to identify tiny genetic remnants left behind by life in the Highland Loch and establish a detailed list of all life living in the waters. During their research that launched last June, 250 water samples were taken from the length, breadth, and depth of the loch. The DNA from those samples was extracted and sequenced, resulting in about 500 million sequences that have now been analyzed against existing databases. The professor of the University of Otago in New Zealand is going... I'm going to have to apparently look it up again, because it said reveal the full findings of the study in September. So I'm going to have to do another update, because I...
Didn't look.
No. I didn't. I had this research before September. He said that there have been over 1,000 reported sightings of something in Loch Ness, which have driven this notion of a monster being in the water. From the sightings they've had 4 main explanations about what was seen. He said, our research essentially discounts most of those theories. However, one theory remains plausible. As creatures move through the loch, they leave tiny DNA fragments of their skin, scales, feathers, fur, feces, and urine, which can be used to identify the creature. Scientists from the Otago University in New Zealand were testing the waters of the loch to find and catalog what types of DNA of species live there. DNA was found for 3,000 different species, including pigs, rabbits, humans, birds, eels, and deer. Professor Gemmell, who is in charge of the study, thinks that Nessie could be an unusually large eel.
Okay.
The closest thing they found to a dinosaur were frogs, and he strongly emphasized that there are no reptiles living in the loch. European eels migrate from the Sargasso Sea south of Florida, where they lay eggs that are pushed east by the Gulf Stream. Whenever the eggs hatch, they travel over 3,000 miles to the European coast as larvae. Once they arrive on the European continental shelf, they turn into transparent eels. Once they reach fresh water, they begin to darken, and they will even cross wet land to reach water. And about 20 years later, they'll travel to the Sargasso Sea to spawn. So it says, if for some reason an eel was unable to make the trip, the energy stored up may have transformed into remarkable growth. The International Union of Conservation of Nature has included European eels on the endangered species list because eel populations have decreased 90% since 1990. And while Gemmell asserted that there is no evidence of a monster, he acknowledges that there is no actual proof that there is not a monster that allows believers to keep believing. So my update is that they still don't know. Maybe we'll find her next time.
Oh.
But that's all I got for that one.
Alright.
What do you got for us for the next one?
Oh, you know what? I don't even know.
You don't even know.
I wonder if Benson's is there.
Might be behind the wall.
Might be.
Maybe that's where it went.
Maybe. We're going to talk about the 1920 Wall Street bombing.
Ooh.
Ooh! Maybe, if I can find it. There it is. Yeah, so. Alright, until next time, you can find us on Instagram at In Reference To, on Twitter at In Reference To,
Gmail at inreference2podcast@gmail.com, where you can send any paranormal or true crime stories that you have, or if you just want to drop an email and say, hey guys! Even if you literally just send an email that just says hi.
Except we don't want to know if you committed
Yeah, if you committed a crime, we don't tell the police, don't tell us.
If you tell us, we're going to tell the police. So.
Yeah, so just tell us if you did, just don't tell us.
Yeah. We are also on Patreon. You can help support us. And whenever this episode gets posted, if it's before Christmas, maybe even after Christmas, get a picture of Brody with Santa Claus. Oh, I have to take him to see Santa Claus. Patreon.com/inreference2. We have multiple tiers that you can join. Until next time.
Bye!